warm welcome to Oulton Park, situated in the stunning Cheshire countryside for the second round of the BRSCC Britcover National Formula Ford 1600 Championship with Avon Tyres. James Rowe Jr. currently topping the table, but Luke Williams isn't far behind him. Cars are heading out on track, so Scott Woodwiss, race 1 coming your way.
Thanks, Anthony. Here is the grid for row 4 of the championship. Luke Williams ahead of points leader James Rowe Jr. with Luke Cooper and Ross Martin on row 2. Then Jamie Thorburn and Neil McLennan ahead of James Scott Murphy and Joshua Smith. With Jack Wolfenden and Michael Eastwell rounding out the top 10. Matt Round-Garrido ahead of Tom MacArthur. Then Sebastian Melrose and John Ferguson ahead of Tom Capazone and Henry Chart. Nigel Dolan and motorsport commentator Ben Edwards on row 9 alongside Nick Barnes and Archie Hine. With Ben Palavoda and Paul Mason ahead of Mark De Rosario and Paul Barnes. With Ivor Mares, John Clayton, Joseph Payne and Andrew Kluge rounding out the 28-car grid. Time for more action in the National Formula Ford 1600 Championship on the international circuit at Oulton Park. 15 minutes of action is going to kick off any minute now. Lights out and we are racing. Good start from Luke Cooper from the second row of the grid. He's alongside Rowe Jr. as we go on board with him. But it'll be Luke Williams with the whole shot, side by side for second as Jamie Thorburn heads up the inside of Neil McLennan. And Luke Cooper understeers wide at the first corner. Off an old hall. Cars streaming past him, including James Scott Murphy on the 46. We're on board, but it's Williams who leads. Rowe Jr. second place, Thorburn up to third, then McLennan fourth, and Ross Martin in his first race of the season into P5. On board with Neil McLennan, he was second twice at Brands Hatch, then retired from the third race with a puncture. He's already going on the attack of his teammate Jamie Thorburn. Just past Lakeside, through Island Bend, and now into the awesome Shellor's hairpin. 180 degrees, banked corner. Fire it out the other side and they charge down towards the first of the two chicanes at Britain's. There is Sebastian Melrose in the number 88 with the white car with the red and black piping, attacking the number 7 of John Ferguson. Back on board with Luke Cooper. Over the curbs on the exit of the chicane. They'll pop over Hilltop and it's still Williams that leads. No major changes just yet. Top 5 trying to break away. Meanwhile, Michael Eastwell in the white and blue number 92 attacking James Rowe Jr. But the Kevin Mills Racing Spectrum is not going to find a way through. Jack Wolfenden also in the mix as well. There he is, car number 65. Under pressure from both Luke Cooper and Tom MacArthur. On board with Wolfenden, over Clay Hill, underneath the Pirelli Bridge and on the way to Druids. Underneath the canopy of the trees. Here comes McLennan now. This is for third position. He lost out at the start and he's really on the attack here on his teammate. Good start from Jamie Thorburn. Had a tricky weekend at Brands Hatch. To make up for it here at Oulton Park. Out of Lodge Corner, over Dealey, under the bridge, across to end the lap. It's Williams that leads, Rowe Jr. second place, Thorburn still defending from teammate McLennan in fourth position. He darts out to have a look at his teammate up the inside. Thorburn leaves the door open and McLennan says, "Thank you very much, Jamie, don't mind if I do," up to P3. And that's the view Thorburn has now. But the hunter now becomes the hunted. Thorburn now has to try and see what he can do to repass his teammate. But the trouble is, the more he focuses on that, he may start to come under attack. That man right there behind him, Ross Martin. On board with McLennan, here's his new view, staring at the back of the freshly re-liveried 1999 Van Diemen of James Rowe Jr. It was white at Brands Hatch, now it's more a two-tone shade of green. Williams taking the apex through the Shellor's hair, but it's now Williams, Rowe Jr., McLennan, Thorburn and Ross Martin. 3 Scottish drivers in the top 5 and they're all line astern at the moment. Over the curves, really using all of it and a little bit more. On board with Thorburn, trying to close in on McLennan, but ahead of them, look at the battle for the lead. Rowe Jr. is attacking Williams. He goes to the inside, one way then the other up towards the braking zone. Williams moves across and Rowe Jr.'s off on 2 wheels onto the grass. He goes straight on over the escape road. The leaders continue on. Rowe Jr. appears now and he'll go into Knickerbrook. It's almost 3 abreast and somehow they come out relatively unscathed. It now puts Ross Martin on the outside of Jamie Thorburn. He is to driver's right. We can't see him on camera, but he may look to try and get third position on the run to Druids. Williams under attack from McLennan. Now has the move for third place finished. Has Ross Martin got it? Yes, he has. Good move from the Scotsman here. And Thorburn is really on the attack again. He's not going to stand for losing one place then another. Meanwhile, up at the front, it's still as it was before. McLennan experienced the deja vu now. He did this in the first 2 races at Brands Hatch. As Thorburn looks to the outside, small puff of smoke from one of the leaders locking up. Ross Martin then holding on to third position. Thorburn fourth, and Rowe Jr. looking to recover after his excursion down the escape road into fifth position. Now Ross Martin, we should mention, actually is experienced in single seaters already, but on a wider national level. He was actually participating in British F4 last year. He was the winner of the Formula Kart Stars prize, which got him a fully funded drive, but unfortunately complications with the scheme meant that he lost out on his drive halfway through. He's reinvigorating his career in Formula Ford. It's his first weekend in the National Championship, but he's no stranger to the Scottish Championship either. It's coming under attack from Jamie Thorburn. Here's looking back up towards the chicane at Bristol. Under brakes! Contact between the pair of them! Thorburn straight into the back of Ross Martin, and it's damage to the left front steering, and I'm afraid off onto the grass and straight to the scene of the accident. Jamie Thorburn's race is done and dusted. Absolutely gutting. He was having such a fine race, and it all ends in tears. What it now means is that Ross Martin is relatively unchallenged in third. This is the battle for fifth position now, or sixth I should say. This is now James Scott Murphy ahead of Jack Wolfenden. We're with him now in the slipstream underneath the Pirelli Bridge. And they're being chased down by Luke Cooper in the red and white Swift. Here is the battle. There is Luke Cooper in the sixth, started on the second row of the grid in third. Had that excursion wide at Oulton Corner on the first lap. He's on the recovery trail here. Wolfenden looks out to make a move at Scott Murphy, but the old field racing car is holding station. Meanwhile, McLennan attacking on the outside into Oulton Corner. But Luke Williams is putting up a stellar defensive effort here. He knows what he needs to do. He's won 2 races already in the National Championship, and he won a race here in March in the Northern Championship also. This duel is continuing to rage on here as we go back on board with Cooper. Now then, back with the leaders, and we're hearing that Luke Williams, the race leader, has a 5-second penalty for track limits as they go on to the last lap, and that means if it stays as it is, this man right here, Neil McLennan, will be basically the winner in the timing results. Not on the road as they start to negotiate traffic. Big oversteer moment for McLennan, but he has it well held and kept under control. Start to lap the back markers now. So they're coming on the 77 of John Clayton by the looks of things. These are the Clubman pre-90 runners up the inside. And good stuff from John, well done. And that's now Ivan Mayers in front in the number 3160 Irishman, who comes over from Ireland and is a staunch supporter of Formula Ford, especially in the Clubman pre-90 class. And they're kind of finding a little bit of trouble to get through here. Meanwhile, back with this battle here, this is now Rowe Jr., James Scott Murphy and Luke Cooper. And this is currently over the battle, looks to me, I think, for 4th or 5th position. Or up underneath Britons, over the Crested Hilltop, and down towards the complex. James Scott Murphy has a look up the inside of Rowe Jr., peeks out, puts himself into his mirrors. They're coming up onto Andrew Kluge in the multicoloured number 40. Through the right-hander at Knickerbrook, and Andrew Kluge starts out of the way, gets right out of the battle, wants no part of this whatsoever. Well done, Andrew, good smart driving up the hill. James Scott Murphy closing in here. He might have a chance to look up the inside of Druids. Rodriguez left the door open, turns to the right-hander, and Scott Murphy loses it. Off across the grass, and James Scott Murphy, can he keep it running? Yes, just about. I think he'll get away with it. Meanwhile, Williams wins the race on the road, but it won't be the win on the results. It'll go to Neil McLennan. McLennan gets his first win of the season. Williams down to second. Ross Martin third, ahead of Luke Cooper, Jack Wolfenden, Matt Round-Garrido, James Scott Murphy, Sebastian Melrose, Ben Edwards a fantastic ninth, and John Ferguson 10th. Thomas Capozone 11th from Henry Chart, Nick Barnes, Paul Mason, Ben Palavoda, Michael Eastwell down in 16th with Paul Barnes, Mark De Rosario, Ivan Mayers and John Clayton, with Andrew Kluge, Joseph Payne and Archie Hine were 23 cars that finished. What a brilliant first race here at Oulton Park. Anthony has the top 3 in the paddock, including race winner Neil McLennan.
Neil, 2 second places at Brands Hatch puts you in good stead for the championship. First race done here at Oulton Park, and winner, congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely delighted. We had a great day's racing at Brands Hatch, and we've come away with another good start today. With Luke getting the penalty, which gave me the win, couldn't really, just absolutely delighted with that.
Luke Williams, we're here at Oulton Park for the second meeting of the National Formula Ford Championship. First round out, 2 wins and a DNF, which left you second in the championship. First race under your belt, second place, puts you back in the lead.
Yeah, certainly. On from Brands Hatch, we had 2 strong results. Obviously, we had the reverse grid in the third race and managed to get from 8th to 2nd into 1st, and then unfortunately tangled when we got into 1st. just put a day enough, which put a bit of a dampener on the weekend, but we knew the pace in the car was there. And then coming here this weekend, we qualified very well, 46.5, half second clear the rest, and we knew we had the pace in the race. I just made a slight mistake and got a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits, but all in all, good race, finished second, got the lap record, so can't complain.
Ross Martin, you missed the first round, but out in force, third overall. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, it was a tough race at the start. A little bit close through the chicane. The very first lap, a few cars went off and just managed to dart my way through to third actually, and then just progressed the race from there. The leader's got a little bit of a gap on me, and I just maintained that.
Last year you were racing in the F4s. What's it like getting into the Formula Ford?
Yeah, for maybe the first couple of days in the car, I found a big change in grip-wise, power, but as soon as I got in it, I felt at home. You know, it suits my style a lot more. The car moves about a lot, so you know, I do feel comfortable when it gets sideways.
And where's the progress going to be?
You know, I'd want to try to get a good season under my belt in Formula Ford 1600. You know, I'd love to win the Scottish Championship, make a name for myself down here in the National. But you know, personally, you know, it is a tough year for me, so I've just got to take whatever I get.
Obviously, your Scottish brethren, Neil, took the win.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's good for the Scots to come down force and take some good results. But yeah, well done to him as well. It's shown the English how it's done.
Congratulations.
Perfect. Cheers. Thank you.
Time for the second race of the weekend here at Oulton Park, with Neil McLennan and Luke Williams on the front row of the grid ahead of Ross Martin and Luke Cooper, with Jack Wolfenden and Matt Round-Garrido ahead of James Scott Murphy and Sebastian Melrose. Ben Edwards and John Ferguson round out the top 10 ahead of Thomas Capozone and Henry Chart, with Nick Barnes and Paul Mason ahead of Ben Palavoda and Michael Eastwell back on row 8. Paul Barnes and Mark de Rosario line up ahead of Ivor Mears and John Clayson to complete the top 20, with Andrew Kluge and Joseph Payne ahead of Archie Hine and James Rowe Jr. back in 24th on row 12. And he's not the only one with a lot of work to do, because also Tom MacArthur starts 25th alongside Nigel Dolan, and watch for Jamie Thorburn and Joshua Smith from the back of the grid to make up for their race 1 dramas. Time for another 15 minutes of Formula Ford action as the lights go up, the revs rise, and we are racing once again. Good start from Jamie Thorburn. To his left there is Joshua Smith, boxed in with Nigel Dolan as they charge towards Old Hall Corner for the first time. Look at the pack swarming, and there's Tom MacArthur. Tom MacArthur having a superb start from the second to last row of the grid, and already trying to make his way through and pick up places. There he is there, look, on the inside of Thomas Capozone as the field piles into cascades for the first time. It's McLennan who leads, Ross Martin in second place. Here is Capozone as he follows Tom MacArthur past John Clayton on the exit of the corner. So McLennan leads, Martin second place, side by side for third, Williams alongside Cooper. Henry Chuck attacking Sebastian Melrose as well, into the left-hander at Island Bend. This is Ben Palavoda. Oh, careful Ben, keep it off the green stuff, it's the circuit you want. Out of Shell Oils for the first time, top 5 trying to break away already, as Jack Wolfenden is trying to go with Luke Cooper. There's Henry Chart duking it out with Matt Round-Garrido, and also the 21 in there is Thomas Capozone in the second of the Swift SC16s. He currently sits towards the bottom of the top 10. On board with Neil McLennan, that's the perfect view for him. A clear track in front, no one around him, and seemingly unbothered. There's Matt Round-Garrido attacking Henry Chart, up into Hislops and then through Knickerbrook. And Thomas Capozone doing a grand job here. His first appearance in the National Championship this season. He is the second of the Swift SC16 cars, the first of which is Luke Cooper up there battling over a podium place. So through Druids for the first time. McLennan doing well ahead of his Scottish compatriot Ross Martin. And Ross was speaking earlier on at the end of the first race to Anthony, saying that the difference between the Formula Ford and the Formula 4 car that he raced part-time last year, there is a difference. There's less downforce, less grip, but he enjoys the oversteer and he enjoys the challenge it provides. As they head down towards Old Hall Corner, you can see he's really enjoying this Formula Ford here. Through the right-hander, attacking Neil McLennan. We should point out that Neil McLennan's car is 3 years older than Ross Martin's, but age in a Formula Ford car doesn't really matter. If you're quick enough and the car's well set up enough, you can pedal a car that's older than a chassis around you up towards the front. I've seen cars that are in the late 80s aged as that Martin goes again for the lead up towards Island Bend, but I've seen drivers who have piloted cars from the 80s and they can get up there battling with the more contemporary machinery. Into Shell Oils Corner for the second time as they come through. Luke Williams just sitting back here, just waiting for an opportunity, thinking, just carry on scrapping you two, but if either of you fall foul, straight in there like a shot. So don't think for a second you can relax, and Neil McLennan is doing far from that. But he is holding the inside line, keeping the car in the middle of the road, forcing Martin to look around and do the weaving, this way and that. But still, McLennan will not give way into Hislops. Luke Williams has lost a tiny bit of ground, and Martin's really piling on the pressure now. You can see he's getting ever closer. He's literally shoving the nose of his 2017 Ray underneath the gearbox of McLennan's car, trying to find a way through. It's Druitt again, underneath the canopy of the trees. And Williams is closing a little bit more now. He's found some momentum out of Knickerbrook and up the hill. Now, the hunter becomes the hunted, because look at this. Into Druids. An attack there from McLennan. Lodge corner, in fact, my apologies. McLennan across the line, holding on to the lead. Hugs the pit wall, looks for his pit board. But now Ross Martin looks across and he can see Luke Williams to his inside. That's what he can see. Up the inside, and Luke Williams is through. So, the Brands Hatch race winner up into second place, Martin down to third. And look behind them, because Luke Cooper and Jack Wolfenden are both coming with them. There's Luke Cooper, the red and white Swift. He's in the mix, and he's not letting the pair of them get away. And the harder they fight each other, the easier it's going to be for McLennan to make a break and for Cooper to close in. Still McLennan leads, but it's a fight on for second place between these two. Up towards Shell Oils, McLennan keeping it in the middle of the road. Keeping it cool, keeping it calm, keeping it composed on the exit of the corner. Oh, contact! Martin hits Williams, gets thrown into the air. Now that's the front end torn off Ross Martin's car. He carries on. I think Williams has too. But that is going to be substantial to Ross Martin's race. That is his race ruined. We didn't see exactly how that started, but it looked as though they went for the apex at the same time and just simply came together. But whilst that's going on ahead, behind them, it's Sebastian Melrose leading these 5 cars a merry dance. This is James Scott Murphy, the second of this queue, with Michael Eastwell and the resurgent Jamie Thorburn and James Rowe Jr., as we said, on the comeback trail. We're with him now. Thorburn holding station in 9th position, or ahead of 9th position, as now we've got Melrose going around the outside. Scott Murphy, Eastwell tries to go with him on the outside, touches the grass and spins. Oh, and Thorburn's gone with him. Thorburn off onto the grass and into the barriers. Eastwell carries on, but that is Jamie Thorburn's weekend done and dusted. Well, his teammate Neil McLennan is completely oblivious to this. He continues to lead with a small margin over Luke Cooper in second place. There is Jack Wolfenden in third, and there in fourth is Luke Williams. He has carried on ahead of Matt Round-Garrido. Then the battle for sixth still rages between Melrose and Scott Murphy. James Rowe Jr. 8th. And meanwhile, there is Luke Cooper, who's got past one of the slower cars. That's the 42 of Mark De Rosario. Meanwhile, we're still seeing Matt Round-Garrido, the superb youngster, former junior saloon car racer, adapted to single-seaters incredibly well. And he's really applying the pressure here to Luke Williams. Watch also for Luke Williams' fellow Furman chassis driver, Jack Wolfenden, but it's now Round-Garrido who's really giving the hurry up to Williams through Island Bend. He looks one way then the other, but Williams is no stranger. He has raced in the British Formula Ford Championship before it became MSA Formula, before it became British F4. So he knows these cars inside out. He knows what it takes to win and to race well in this format of racing. Matt Round-Garrido and Jack Wolfenden have both adapted incredibly well. And Wolfenden now looks as though he wants to go on the attack of Matt Round-Garrido. Over the hill at Hilltop, up towards Hislops once again. And you can see, look at the damage. That's the damage from the contact between Williams and Ross Martin. You can see the driver's right-hand side radiator is exposed on Williams' car. It'll certainly help the cooling, but I'm not sure aesthetically or even aerodynamically that's going to do him any favours. Now we'll look back further down the order and looking across the hill, and here is our Club and Post 89 battle. This is for second place in class. John Ferguson leads, and the 12 car is Ben Edwards, the Channel 4 F1 commentator, attacking the 105 of Nick Barnes and doing a grand job. And people seem to forget that Ben Edwards started in Formula Ford before he went into commentary, and always likes to go back to his roots, brings his car out every now and again. He pilots a Van Diemen RF92, so he's certainly no stranger to the category, and it's good to have him out in the championship. Speaking of Clubman drivers, this is the scrap over the lead in the Clubman pre-90 class. We go on to the final lap. Neil McLennan continues to lead, completely unchallenged, spread eagle in the field here aboard the Cliff Dempsey racing car. As he turns his way, little twitch of oversteer, but he's got it under control. Through the apex of Shellows. This battle continues to go on between Paul Barnes and Ivan Meyers in the 316. Ivan Meyers is not letting him get away. He's certainly applying the pressure through Knickerbrook as they turn their way through, and it's worked because Paul Barnes is off. Paul Barnes spins on the exit of Knickerbrook and he spins away the lead. Ivan Meyers will win this category easy by the looks of it. Paul Barnes had an easy victory in the bag, or so it looked. All of a sudden runs wide on the exit of the corner and his chances go up in smoke. Well, this is the battle for third place. We saw Neil McLennan there continue to lead, but Luke Williams is hanging on for dear life ahead of Round Garrido and Wolfenden. Through Knickerbrook for the last time, up towards Clay Hill, underneath the bridge. Here's McLennan. He's coming across the recovering Paul Barnes. He's got to respect the blue flags. He'll try and move out of the way if he can. And he does so. He should move to the inside. Indeed he does. Well done, Paul. And down the outside. Roe Junior's car stopped also on the left-hand side. But through the right-hander at Lodge, over Dealey for the final time. What a weekend for Neil McLennan, up towards the checkered flag. He will make it 2 from 2 here at Oulton Park. He wins race 2 with Luke Cooper in second place, and somehow Luke Williams does hold on to third ahead of Matt Round Garrido, with Jack Wolfenden, James Scott Murphy, Sebastian Melrose, Thomas Capazone, Michael Eastwell and John Ferguson, who wins Club and Post 89 and in the top 10. Ben Edwards 11th ahead of Nick Barnes and Henry Chart, Nigel Dolan and Ben Palavoda, Paul Mason and Ross Martin down in 17th ahead of Archie Hine. And also in the mix we had Ivan Meyers, who finished in 19th place and wins Club and Pre-90. So what a fantastic weekend, and once again Anthony has the top 3 down the paddock.
It was an eventful one. We came to pull out the awning to go to the starting grid, and the clutch had engaged itself. The master cylinder had failed basically, so we couldn't move. So a couple of lads from the other teams saw us struggling, so everyone jumped on and we managed to get it started, but we actually had no clutch.
Luke Cooper, back on the podium, you got a big smile on your face.
Oh, absolutely ecstatic with that. It's been a very tiring weekend. We lost our engine on Monday, and engine builder, Barnett Racing Engines, did a brilliant job to turn it around in two days and bring it back to us for this weekend. And to actually be out this weekend is a bit of a miracle, but to come away with a 4th and a 2nd, I'm absolutely ecstatic with that.